Hi, do you know when was the last time we had a BMW X3? It was 4 years ago. And do you know who did this test? It was me, together with my colleague. But I beg you, if you come back to this material, please be understanding because it was one of our first videos. BMW X3 was never particularly pretty, but it didn't stop it from gaining popularity all over the world. In addition, the demand for luxury SUVs of medium size is high since this segment was created. Just look at the ranking of luxury car sales and you will see SUVs at the top. Today I was very surprised because I have BMW X3 in the latest version, again for testing, and with a hybrid under the hood. I invite you to the test. We are talking about a lifting, not a new model, although BMW is trying to convince everyone that what is standing next to me is a brand new X3. Of course, looking at this car, you can see the changes quite quickly, but the general styling is well known to us from the car that had its premiere in 2017. And then it was really a new X3. When it comes to the front changes, the bumper was redesigned. It now has more sharp lines. In addition, 10mm reflectors were flattened, which also took over the functions of the fog lights. Previously, they were in the bumper. A new style of the radiator cover has also appeared. And thank God that this model was hidden from the designer who was responsible for the latest BMW 7 Series, because otherwise this grille would be from here to here. On the side, this car has not changed anything except the wheels. You can choose new rims. As it happens in my test car, I have the most expensive optional rims in size of 21 inches. We also have changes in the back, and in short, the lamps have changed, the bumper was changed, and the shape of the rear exhaust tips has changed. But such a description of these changes would be too simple for BMW because they do it in an outstanding way. So pour yourself a glass of wine, sit in front of a fireplace or a radiator, and immerse yourself in German poetry.
Süßer Friede, komm, ach, komm in meine Brust.
Well, according to BMW, the appearance of the new X3 through various elements has gained clarity. The black frame adds full LED rear lamp precision, and the narrower light pattern now includes a three-dimensional outline and filigree horizontal direction indicators. Well, as I love God, you can read it in your child's sleep, and I guarantee you that he will fall asleep quickly. However, I have to admit that these lamps look really interesting, and this is the third model in which we have such a three-dimensional style of these lamps. They are carved in here, and you can see that they are perfectly combined with the whole body. I was told, for example, at BMW X1 that these are not only stylistic solutions, but someone really took care of the airflow of the car. What is it about? If you don't know what it is about money. And if it is about money, it is about burning fuel. And I told you about real exhaust tips. It is a real rarity nowadays. But of course, not everything on X3 is real. Some things are fake. Fake is, for example, this air outlet. Fake is also this air outlet. And it is more and more common in BMW. But I would like to point out some cool details like this. After opening doors on the pole, you have a printed X3. It is really cool. The interior has some cosmetic changes based on the modernization of multimedia. Now you get a standard 10.25-inch screen. Virtual clocks are also standard. Of course, there are also new colors and patterns, but when it comes to other important changes, there are none. It is also worth mentioning the trunk, which in the hybrid version, unfortunately lost on its practicality. Anyway, see for yourself what comes out on the foreground after opening the trunk lid. A huge step or bump. And what's interesting, there is no battery in it because it is under the seat. But it is through this bump that you lose 100 liters from the trunk, because the hybrid version offers you 450 liters in the standard edition and 1500 liters after folding the rear sills. And with this nice and medium information, we can move on to the engine. Under the hood of the tested hybrid, which is X3 with the 30E designation, there is a 4-cylinder, 2-liter petrol engine with 184 horsepower, which of course cooperates with the electric engine, generating 109 horsepower. The total power of the whole system is 292 HP and 420 Nm of torque. This is due to the fact that this over 2-ton SAV, because it's an SAV, not a SUV, accelerates to 100 km per hour in 6.1 seconds. In my opinion, this is a pretty good result, considering the dimensions of this car, but of course when it comes to hybrid, acceleration is not the most important thing. The most important thing is of course the economy. And now BMW declares that here average fuel consumption is on the level between 2.1 liters and 2.4 liters, and it is achievable, but you have to meet at least two conditions. The first one is that you will travel mainly in the city or on very short routes. The second condition is that you will always have a charged battery and you will simply take care of it. Then indeed you are able to reach around these 2 liters, because on the electric motor itself you are able to drive up to 55 kilometers. I currently covered over 353 kilometers and my average fuel consumption is 7.8 liters. When it comes to comparison to the competition, I think it is an acceptable result, although of course diesel would achieve better fuel consumption. Here the main advantage of the hybrid is of course traveling in the city. It is important that when you put the goal of your trip into the navigation, the car in the hybrid mode will calculate your entire route and will use the battery in the best possible moment. I noticed it while driving. First, in big city, it used battery non-stop. Later on the road, battery was used less and even left a 15% backup to have it at the end of my trip. When I was driving on country roads where the speed is much lower and I could use the battery much more often. You can switch to electric mode, and in standard mode you can accelerate to 110 kilometers per hour. However, you can also switch to max mode and then you can travel at a speed of up to 135 kilometers per hour. And to be honest, I don't understand why is this division into max mode or normal mode? Because if I accelerate to 135 kilometers per hour, I do it consciously. I don't have to do it, so I don't know why the switch. Anyway, X330e is a plug-in hybrid, so you can charge this battery either from a socket at home or on some charging stations, but if you don't want to do it, you can charge it while driving. From an economic point of view, it is totally pointless, but you can do it. When you put the battery control mode, you can set the battery value. If you set the value to 100%, the car won't use it. However, when the battery is discharged, the car will charge it from the combustion engine. And as I said, from an economic point of view, it makes no sense because the fuel consumption will jump up. However, if you don't have a charger nearby and you know that you will soon arrive in the city, you can do it on the road and then it will charge your battery. Because from the moment I press this button and I'm talking to you, the computer shows me that I will drive 1 kilometer. To the summary of the ride itself, I have to admit that I like to drive the X3 because this car is very comfortable, it drives very well, and I always emphasized it in the BMW test that they are masters in the compromise between comfort and quality of driving. The suspension is great on all the bumps and the car doesn't drive like a couch. Perfection. In this regard, BMW is perfect. And it's not different in the case of X3. But in conclusion, as I said before, it's a very comfortable and nice car. This hybrid also works well. Range is quite standard, but it's optimal when it comes to driving around the city or on short trips. But if you travel longer, then this car doesn't make much sense. Then it's better to choose a diesel, as long as we can.